All right. Well, welcome everybody. We still have a few people coming into the room. We appreciate you taking this time on a Thursday night to be here with us and to help us in this important work. My name is Amber Lewis. I'm a Lead for Minnesota Fellow, and I'm serving Northspan as their Welcoming Community Program Coordinator. And I'm excited to be here with you tonight. We've been actively recruiting people to come to this meeting to hopefully have as much community participation as possible in learning more about your community and how inclusive you are in these different sectors that we're going to be looking at tonight. This has been a pretty long process. It's probably over a year-long process if we look at all the work that has gone into it. We hosted Northspan hosted a Northeast Minnesota Equity Summit last year, where we learned a lot about what welcoming means to different community members. We found out who was interested in some of these different communities in learning more, and the school district areas that we're looking at tonight, Cloquet School District and Cook County School District, and then the Rock Ridge School District area were regions that rose to the top as far as people who were interested in continuing to learn more about inclusion and how to make their communities more inclusive places. So that's part of why we're here tonight. Now, all of you, when you registered, you indicated which community sector you were most connected with, and we're going to be going into breakout rooms, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more here in a second. We had a lot of registrants from the schools. We had a lot of registrants from the nonprofit sectors and then local government. So we have some pretty big groups there. So the groups that were kind of lacking maybe participation from our law enforcement, not nonprofit business, not law enforcement, business, religious or faith organizations, and then healthcare. So if you have a connection to one of those sectors that you would be willing to go and do the assessment and be part of that breakout room tonight, so maybe you have a strong connection to that one that you indicated on your registration, but you also have some experience or to be able to give some good insight into the inclusiveness of one of those other sectors that we don't have as many participants registered for, please consider joining that breakout room when the time comes, so that we can have a more even split in those groups, if that makes sense. So with that, that's a little bit of an overview of where we are and what we're doing here tonight. I'm going to pass it over to Scott from the University of Minnesota Extension Center for Community Vitality, who's been helping us along in this entire process, to give you a little bit more of an overview of what the night will look like. And we're going to talk about some definitions of terms. So Scott.
Great, thanks, Amber. And I think before I jump in, I just want to introduce myself and the other folks who will be facilitating the small group discussions tonight. I'm Scott Chasden. I'm with University of Minnesota Extension. My office is in St. Paul, and I'm at my home in St. Paul tonight. And I'm going to be the overall sort of guide through this assessment, but we have several people who have volunteered to facilitate the small groups tonight. And I'm just going to call on them, since it's easier that way, just to quickly introduce themselves. So facilitating our breakout discussion about the schools is Carl Schutler. Carl, you want to introduce yourself?
So my name is Carl Schutler, Research Director and Senior Consultant at Northspan. So I worked with Amanda, or Amber, and Amanda also, but yes.
Thanks, Carl. Sorry, I butchered your last name. And then for the discussion on healthcare, it's Jennifer Aranda. Jennifer?
Hi all, my name is Jen Aranda, and I'm with University of Minnesota Extension Leadership and Civic Engagement. So I look forward to facilitating healthcare. Thanks, guys.
And the discussion about the business community is John Bennett.
Good evening, everyone. John Bennett with University of Minnesota Extension. And yeah, hope you pick my my breakout session here to talk about business. So come on over.
And then facilitating the discussion of religious organizations is Julie Hawker.
Hey everyone, my name is Julie Hawker. I am from the Mankato area in the southern part of the state. but I've also been part of creating the Welcoming Communities Project in the southern part of the state, and I'm working with Alyssa and Amber and Northspan on this program. I will be in the religious organization space, so come on over and join me.
And then the group about nonprofit organizations is Alyssa Hansen.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I'm Alyssa Hansen. I'm the president here at Northspan. So excited to see so many faces tonight. And like he said, I'll be doing the nonprofit group. My group is large, so I just want those who might be willing to and connected to another one. It's law enforcement, healthcare, faith organizations, or business. If you have a connection and you're willing to give it up, nonprofit for the night.
And I'll go over more. We'll go over more about how you're actually going to be allowed to do more than one of these assessments, but just one discussion group tonight. And then law enforcement is Amber, and Amber has already introduced herself, so we don't have to do that again. And then local government is Amanda. Amanda, is it Vukic or Vucic?
It's neither. It's
neither.
Vucic.
Vucic.
But that was those two attempts were really good. So I give you credit for that. My name is Amanda Vucic. I'm an operations manager and associate consultant at Northspan, and I am facilitating the local government group, which I hear is pretty large. So if you're willing to go into a law enforcement, healthcare, or faith organizations, they would love to have you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to show you the agenda for tonight. And I'm going to walk through and maybe make it a little bigger so you can read it better. How the evening is going to go. So we're going to be having an overview now, and I'm going to go through some definitions of terms with everyone. And then around 6 to 6:10, we'll be moving to small group breakout sessions. And so we'll be giving you instructions about how on Zoom to go on the bottom of your screen where it says breakout sessions, and you'll pick one of the sectors, and we'll talk more about that. But that's going to be the discussion group you'll be in, and you'll be discussing that sector and going through the assessment as a small group. That will take about an hour. And then we'll come back to the large group towards the end between 7:15 and 7:30, and we'll just give you an overview of what the next steps will be. One of the important next steps is that we encourage you to fill out as many of these of the different sectors as you are interested in filling out, because most of you probably are connected to more than one of these sectors and have things to say about inclusiveness in more than one of these sectors. And we really welcome people to fill out the different assessments for different sectors. We don't want you to fill out the same assessment for the same sector multiple times. And I think that won't work anyway, but multiple sectors. So is going to be helpful. So I'm just going to go through some of the kind of overview here of what it is we're doing tonight. It's called an Inclusion Readiness Assessment. And just to give you a little background, this was developed a few years ago by several communities in southern Minnesota that felt like they wanted a baseline for understanding how inclusive and welcoming their communities were. And so I worked with a team of people from several communities in southern Minnesota to develop this tool. And to do that, we looked at a bunch of other resources that are already out there that are called community readiness assessments. And we kind of picked the best of the best. And we identified the aspects of these different tools that we liked the most, and then we created this tool. We developed this process to help us learn about the successes and challenges of our organizational and community efforts to be inclusive of all residents. Tonight, we'll be splitting up into 7 conversation groups, each one about inclusion in one sector of the community. And these sectors are the school system, the healthcare system, law enforcement, local government, the nonprofit sector, which includes social service organizations, service clubs, and local foundations. religious institutions, or sometimes called faith institutions, and the business community and chamber. So these sectors experience and adapt to change differently. So we want to learn more about how each sector is addressing inclusion. A few guidelines for our discussion today. We want to create a feeling of safety for people to talk and listen. While all are expected to make their best effort to be respectful, there is an understanding that someone may say something that results in an unintentional offense or hurt feelings for others. And a primary assumption of safe space is that everyone speaks with the positive intent of seeking greater knowledge and understanding. And along with this goes this idea that if in the small group someone is dominating the conversation, the facilitator may ask others and that person to let others talk. It would be ideal if we were actually sitting in a circle and going around the circle and giving everyone in the circle a chance to respond to the different discussion questions we have tonight. And over Zoom, it's just not that simple. So I just ask you to really try to keep your comments brief so that others have a chance to comment, and do a good job listening to others and not interrupting them when they're speaking. Before we start, we'd like to offer some definitions for our discussion today. So by diversity, we're talking about the range of similarities and differences among individuals and groups, including but not limited to national origin, language, race, color, disability, ethnicity, gender, age, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, socioeconomic status, veteran status, location of residence, and family structures. So the communities in which you live are diverse. People from all these different ways of life and backgrounds are part of your community, and we're trying to be inclusive of every possible group that we can be in this effort and in our communities. Inclusion means creating spaces to grow as individuals, sectors, and community through sharing, learning, collaboration, and action, to unite people and remove barriers to equal opportunity and responsibility in community and life. Our focus is on several types of inclusion: race or immigrant status, socioeconomic status, location of residence, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability status, and religion. Exclusion is the opposite of inclusion. It's intended or unintended acts that prevent people from participating fully in activities or feeling a sense of belonging. Lived experience, you'll see this phrase quite a bit in the assessment. Lived experience refers to the firsthand accounts and impressions of living as a member of a group that has been underrepresented or excluded from participation in activities or from feeling a sense of belonging. Equality is treating everyone the same. It seems like a great idea, but it only works if everyone is starting out at the same place. Equity is ensuring that everyone has what they need to be successful, that there are policies, practices, and procedures in place to promote equitable outcomes. And finally, individual versus systemic exclusion. So exclusion can happen both at the individual level through acts of bigotry, as well as at a system level where norms or procedures, in other words, doing things the way they've always been done, can exclude. Sometimes we aren't aware that policies or practices can promote exclusion. So do we understand these terms to mean the same things? Are there any do people have any questions about any of these terms? And maybe Amber can help me see if anyone's raising. You can raise your hand, or you could unmute if you have any questions about any of these terms, because they do get used in the assessment. One thing that I can do that I think would be helpful is put a link to this agenda in the chat. So I'm going to do that so you have access to all these definitions if you want, when you go through the assessments. So let me do that right now. So that's a link to this agenda document. Okay. Now, we're going to move towards getting ready to do this assessment. We have created a website that we're going to want everyone in this meeting to link to before we go to the small groups. And this website is up here. I'm going to copy it and paste it in the chat so you can all click on it. Okay, so website. So I invite you now to click on the link for this website and open it up. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen and start sharing what that screen looks like. Okay. So hopefully you see something like this. If you don't on your computer, I mean, now you're seeing it because I'm sharing it, but hopefully you had that open as well. And I'm just going to kind of walk through this because this has a lot of the same information that I just shared with you. It also has the glossary of terms that I just went through. So I really think you're getting these terms in multiple places. And what's important about this website is it's a landing page where if you scroll down to the bottom, you see links. These little boxes are links to all the different assessment surveys. When you go in the small groups tonight, before we go to the small groups, I'm gonna ask you to click on the sector of the group you're going to. So if you're going to the discussion of the school system, you're gonna click on that box and it's gonna open up your survey. Okay, Carol has a question. Do you want to unmute and ask your question? Carol?
I'm sorry, Scott. I'm having a difficult time locating where my chat is on my, I'm on a tablet tonight, so I can't find my chat.
Well, is anyone else familiar with tablets that could answer that question? Usually it's when it's at the bottom of the screen when you kind of hover.
Sometimes on a tablet, it'll be like in a menu drop down instead of on the bottom, or you have to you have to move your mouse around and then it'll pop back up. But if you're not moving your mouse around, it'll kind of go away.
That's what got mine to work, is I tap on the screen, then it drops down, and it's actually to the far right under more, where there's 3 little dots.
Yeah, and when when I open up my more, why is it that I don't see my chat?
So I'm on an iPad and it's at the top. Chat is the first option.
Darn it.
Carol, I have your email as well, so I'll just send you an email quick with the link.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry for holding things up.
Awesome. Thanks, Amber. Is anyone else having any difficulty opening the landing page, the website, I mean? Okay. So when we go, before we go to the small groups, and if you want to right now, if you know what group, well, don't do it quite yet, because I want to make a pitch for spreading yourselves out. I've heard that when people registered, they kind of identified which discussion they would be part of. But just know that we would like you to complete more than one of these assessments. And so if you get in a group tonight that's really big, like if there's 20 or more people in your group, I would invite you to come back to the main room and then pick another group, another sector to go to, because that way we could have, you know, at least ideally 5 people per group tonight. And you will have a chance, and we're going to leave this website and all these surveys open for a full month. And we're going to want you to fill out as many sectors as you can and to invite people you know to come to this website and fill out this assessment. The more of these we can get, the better from the 3 communities, the 3 school districts.
So Scott, quick question.
Yes.
Do I have to have worked in that area to do that survey?
That's a really, really great question. Thank you. No, you do not. So for example, with the school system, we want the views of users of the school system, not just staff. With law enforcement, we want people who've had encounters with law enforcement, not just people who are working for the police. With religious organizations, we want church members, not just clergy. So same thing goes for all these systems. If you're staff, it's fine. You're welcome to go to that discussion of your sector, but don't feel obligated to, because you can always fill it out later for your sector. If you're interested in discussing any of these sectors in particular, that's where you should go tonight. If you've got things that you want to say, that would be the best group to pick for tonight. So thank you, Alyssa, for asking that question. Okay, so I'm going to stop my sharing because now I think we're going to move towards having people go to the breakout rooms. And sometimes people are experienced going to breakout rooms, sometimes not so much. So I don't know if Amber, you want to walk people through, or
Yeah, yeah, I can walk them through the breakout rooms. So it might be a little bit different on a tablet, as we've already heard tonight, but usually on that bottom strip along your Zoom screen, there's a little spot that says breakout rooms. So hopefully you can all find that. It's usually in that same row that the chat is in, you know, share screen, different things like that. Breakout rooms is there. You go ahead and click on that. And there are 7 different breakout rooms, as we've already discussed, that are connected to those 7 different community sectors. And you should be able to click on the one that you want to join, and it'll say join, and you just click on that and it'll put you into that breakout room. Now, when I open up those breakout rooms, everybody's going to be trying to get into them at once. And so they're going to be moving around. So you might need to wait just a minute for them to settle down, and then you'll be able to click on it. But sometimes it moves around a little bit and is difficult to get into for just a second while everybody's trying to click on it. So just be patient. Click on the breakout room that you want to go to, and hopefully we can get everybody in there. And Scott is going to be staying here in this main room for a little bit here and be jumping between rooms, but he'll be there to help if there's any problems. How does that sound, everybody? Hopefully good. I'm going to go ahead and open those rooms, and then we can kind of see where we're at from there. Okay. All right, hopefully everybody can see those.
And you have to scroll way down to see the different rooms. You have to scroll past the list of names. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like people are moving, so I'm assuming they're working. Okay. Looks like it's working.
Yeah, it does.
All right, I'm glad everybody's getting in there. I'm going to go to my breakout room. Just let me know, Scott, if there's any problems.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We've got a couple of people in here. See if we can get a few more. I'll be right back.
row, you know, where it says,
Participants chat, share screen, record, live transcript, reactions.
and then do you see something that says more?
No,
Oh, that's odd.
that is odd.
It could be that it's there, but are you using a full window?
We can also assign people to rooms. Which room are you trying to go to?
I'm
Marls.
gonna go to the nonprofit room.
Okay, let me see if we can just put you in there. And I was just in the law enforcement room. We don't have very many people.
I didn't have the full screen on, so I found it. Join
Okay.
breakout. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Is anybody here able to go to law enforcement? Because we need some more people in there.
Daniel or Carol or Mandy? Are you having trouble?
No, I'm just trying to pick one because originally I think I was like coming here as a parent. Like there's so many people in schools. I'm willing to go wherever you guys want me to go, I guess.
Would law enforcement be okay, Mandy?
I could swing that way, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hop over there and I'll be there in a minute.
In my more on the bottom, I have chat,
I'll go.
transcript settings, meeting.
Carol, where are you trying to
audio.
go?
I am trying to go to healthcare.
Okay, let me just assign you that and see if that works. Did you see anything?
Something popped up and went away. You want to do that one more time, please? Sorry. I get to be the complicated one tonight.
Not joined. Let's see. Move to. We seem to have this problem once in a while. I'm going to see.
There it is. Join breakout room.
I put you in the wrong one though, because I was trying to move you. So hang on a second.
Got it.
You said healthcare, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and I'm going to stop recording. Forgot about that.